The arrival. The Bentley's engine purred to a stop in the marble-lined garage of the Regal Lux Hotel. Layla Monet stepped out, her charcoal-tailored suit catching the soft lighting, gold pin gleaming on her lapel. This wasn't just any evening, this was her evening. The black and gold banner hanging across the marble entrance bore her name, her fashion line, her vision. She'd worked for months coordinating with the hotel staff, planning every detail of tonight's exclusive fashion show. The city's elite would gather in the grand ballroom upstairs, but first, she had to navigate the luxury hotel's pristine corridors to reach her team. 3 steps toward the elevator, and her path was blocked. "Excuse me, miss." Security guard Victor Langley stepped forward, chest puffed out, badge catching the light. "This is a VIP area. I'm going to need to see some identification." Layla paused, eyebrow raised. She'd watched him wave through men in Aston Martins without so much as a glance, but here he was, demanding papers from her like she was trespassing. Of course. She reached into her designer purse, pulling out her gold-embossed credentials, complete with her photo, name, and role as tonight's featured designer. Victor barely glanced at the identification before shaking his head. "I'm going to need more than this. Corporate ID, event authorization, something official." The dismissal in his voice was unmistakable. While other guests sailed past without question, suddenly every rule in the book applied to her. Layla felt the familiar burn of frustration, but kept her voice level. "The event is under my name. I've been coordinating with Clara Mendez, your GM, for weeks." "Sure you have," Victor's tone dripped skepticism. "Look, lady, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but you need to take your little fashion show somewhere else." The words hung in the air between them, loaded with assumption and prejudice. Layla realized this wasn't about security protocols, this was about what Victor thought someone in heels and a Bentley should look like. The confrontation. The garage fell silent except for the soft hum of expensive engines cooling down. Layla studied Victor's face, reading the prejudice written there as clearly as her name on the banner upstairs. "Let me ask you something," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "Is this about security, or is this about what you think someone who drives a Bentley should look like?" Victor's jaw tightened. He stepped closer, voice dropping to a threatening whisper. "I think you need to watch your tone. This is a high-class establishment, and we have standards." But Layla was done playing nice. She pulled out her phone, scrolling to the GM's direct line. The call connected on the second ring. "Clara? It's Layla Monet. I'm in your garage being harassed by security who won't let me access my own event." Clara's voice was sharp, professional. "Stay exactly where you are. I'll be right down." As they waited, another security guard appeared, young Sean, looking nervous as Victor tried to recruit backup. "This woman claims she's running tonight's fashion show," Victor explained to Sean, but even the younger guard seemed hesitant, his eyes moving from Layla's credentials to the gold markers on the ground indicating reserved parking, to the Bentley with its obvious signs of wealth and success. The elevator dinged, and Clara Mendez stepped out with Marcus from PR close behind, tablet in hand. Clara's expression was thunderous as she took in the scene, Layla standing composed by her car, Victor positioned like he was guarding Fort Knox, and Sean trying to blend into the marble walls. "Victor," Clara's voice could have frozen water. "Step aside. Now." Marcus held up his tablet, showing Clara the event details, Layla's photo, her credentials, her role. Victor tried one last defense. "I was just following protocol." "You were following prejudice," Clara cut him off. She turned to Sean. "Escort Mr. Langley to HR. Take his badge and keycard. He's terminated effective immediately." The humiliation was swift and quiet. Victor's face crumpled as the reality hit him, his assumptions had cost him his job. He walked toward the elevator, shame trailing behind him like a shadow. The reckoning. Clara turned to Layla, her professionalism cracking slightly. "Ms. Monet, I cannot apologize enough for what just happened. This is completely unacceptable behavior from our staff. Layla nodded, but her expression remained serious. Clara, this isn't just about one man or one moment. This is about the culture you've allowed to flourish at your front door. The words hit their mark. Clara's face tightened as she realized the deeper implications. What do you need from me? Clara asked, her voice genuine. Anti-bias training for all staff. Public statements about your commitment to equality. Real changes in your security protocols and hiring practices. Layla's voice was firm, non-negotiable. This can't happen to anyone else. Clara nodded, and this time, Layla could see she meant it. The elevator ride to the ballroom was quiet, but as the doors opened, Layla was hit with a wave of controlled chaos. Her team was a well-oiled machine, assistants buzzing around floral arrangements, models getting final touch-ups, music thumping through the floor as the sound crew ran tests. Despite the professional energy surrounding her, the burn from the garage incident sat heavy in her chest. When Marcus approached, concern written on his face, she waved off his questions. I'm fine, she said, but they both knew it was more complicated than that. Just tired of always having to prove I belong in rooms I built myself. The fashion show was more than clothing, it was her legacy, her statement. But tonight, it would be something even more powerful. An hour before showtime, Layla found Clara backstage. I need a microphone, she said simply. Clara looked nervous. Maybe it would be better to address this after the show. When emotions aren't so. No. Layla's voice was firm. If my voice matters, it matters now. Not when the applause starts. Clara handed over the wireless mic without another word. The statement. The ballroom fell silent as Layla walked onto the runway, house lights dimmed, hundreds of faces turned toward her. Fashion editors, buyers, influencers, people who thought they'd seen everything, waited to hear what she had to say. My name is Layla Monet, she began, her voice carrying clearly through the sound system. And if you don't know that name, you're probably in the wrong room. A ripple of nervous laughter moved through the crowd. Tonight, before you see my collection, I want to tell you what happened to me an hour ago in this hotel's garage. She spoke without anger, just truth. I was questioned, doubted, and dismissed by someone who decided I didn't look like I belonged here, at my own event. The silence was complete now, electric. This collection is called No More because it was born from contrast, elegance and resistance, form and fire. Every stitch is a reclamation of space, the right to arrive without asking permission. She could see the faces in the front row changing, editors and buyers realizing this wasn't just about fashion anymore. Success shouldn't need translation or permission slips, Layla continued. This show isn't just on the runway, it's in the fight to stand in the light in the first place. She paused, letting her words sink in. This isn't just fashion. It's a mirror. And you don't get to look away. The music exploded to life, and models began their march down the runway in silk and armor, each piece telling a story of power reclaimed. By the time the final look appeared, a stunning gold gown that seemed to capture all the light in the room, the entire audience was on their feet. This wasn't polite applause, this was recognition, validation, and respect earned through both talent and courage. Backstage, Marcus shook his head in amazement. They'll be writing about this for weeks. Layla nodded, making sure each model came off the runway feeling as powerful as they looked. Good. Now we talk business. The resolution. Later, in the private lounge, Clara approached Layla once more. The GM's face still carried the weight of the evening's events. I've already started implementing the changes you requested, Clara said. Anti-bias training begins next week, and we're reviewing all our security protocols. Layla sipped her champagne, studying Clara's face. This wasn't just something that happened, Clara. This was everything, the assumptions, the prejudice, the casual dismissal. I don't want special treatment. I just don't want to be diminished. I understand, Clara said, and for the first time that night, Layla believed she truly did. Not just for you, but for everyone who walks through our doors. The after-party buzzed with energy, but eventually, the night wound down. Layla found herself back in the garage where it all began, same Bentley, same marble surroundings. But the silence felt different now, it belonged to her. She ran her hand along the car's hood, seeing her reflection in the polished surface. Calm, clear, victorious. Victor's words echoed in her memory, "You don't look like someone who drives a Bentley." She smiled at the irony. She didn't need to look the part, she was the part. She hadn't asked for space, she'd built it, claimed it, and defended it. Her heels clicked against the marble as she walked toward the exit, each step a statement of presence, power, and purpose. The sound echoed through the garage, not just footsteps, but a declaration. Behind her, the hotel stood transformed. Clara would implement real changes. The staff would receive proper training. And future guests, regardless of what they looked like, would be treated with the respect they deserved. Layla drove into the night, the city lights reflecting off her car's surface like scattered diamonds. She thought about all the doors that had been closed to her over the years, all the spaces where she'd had to prove her worth twice over. But tonight, she hadn't just opened a door, she'd torn it off its hinges and rebuilt the entrance entirely. The Bentley disappeared into the flow of traffic, carrying with it the quiet satisfaction of a battle fought and won, not just for herself, but for everyone who would come after. Success, after all, was the best form of revolution. The end.